Sorry, everybody, for starting late. If you would please, everyone, please rise. Remove your caps. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Gentlemen, have you had a chance to check over all the bills? Is everybody all set with them?
Yep. Move we pay the bills. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And the minutes, has everybody had a chance to look the minutes over? From May 8th. Everybody's checked them over?
Yes.
I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion, Pat.
Second?
I'll second
All in favor?
it. Aye.
So, opposed? So carried. Okay, first thing on the agenda, the Berry Betterment Committee. Kelly, would you like to address that?
I would. The Berry Betterment Committee, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but we planted some flowers around the town signs, and we're pretty happy with those. We do have a square dance coming up, June 22nd at the town park in the pavilion. We have a lot of sponsors. We're gonna have a hot dog sale. It's June 22nd from 6 to 9 p.m. We're gonna have live music and a live caller, so you're all welcome to come out and join us.
Please do. Also, recognition on the flowers there with Master Gardener Don O'Keefe. He assisted as well, correct?
Yes, he designed the flowers for us, and we're still gonna work on putting annuals in as well, in the town park.
Very good, thank you. Yes. Vanna's standing back there with a clipboard. Everybody, please print your name. Print your name, please, so we can understand who's signing or who is here and who is not here. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. For the next thing, it has to do with the Windows 7. I got this from our IT people. They are letting us know that as of January 2020, Windows 7 operating system in our network will no longer be supported. They're not going to support Windows 7. Not our IT people, Windows. So the recommendation is that let's get ahead of it and let's switch over to Windows 10. A few of our computers are already on Windows 10 like mine, but we need to get the other ones upgraded as well. And of course, there is a little fee with that. Water District 10. Just got this. June 11th. That is today, isn't it? No, yesterday. June 11th, from Labella, writing to Commissioner Paul at the New York State Department of Agricultural Markets, stating that the town of Berry has met the requirements of section 305-4 and that consistent with social, economic, and other considerations to the maximum extent practicable, adverse agricultural impacts revealed in the notice of intent will be minimized or avoided through the measures identified above. So basically it is saying we have completed the agricultural district review for our town for Water District 10, so we can proceed with Water District 10. Oh, okay. town roof. Got paperwork last Thursday and Friday, of which it's been signed by all parties, the contractor, CPL, the engineering firm, and myself, and that is proceeding at this time. Have not got a date as of yet when they'll start the construction on the roof. But everything's all set in line and all the necessary paperwork has been signed. USDA, we had a little visit from a gentleman the other day from Mitchell Hitchcock, who wanted to inform us. First, he came to the town to make sure it was okay. We gave him our blessing. And then he was gonna go out. He'll be going to some of your homes and knocking on your doors, as well as many others. Apparently, we have a new invasive insect called a European cherry fruit fly. They found it very predominant in the county of Niagara, and they also found it somewhat in western Orleans County. So as a result, they asked us if it was okay on all our properties if they can set up some traps. To which I said, yeah, it's no problem. Let's find out if we've got it or not. So they're gonna be going throughout Orleans County, but they'll be knocking on homes in every town as well. So you may have someone from the United States Department of Agriculture knocking on your door, and just like me, ask for their ID. I made sure he produced it. That's how I got his name and everything else. And all they're doing right now is looking to see if we do have a problem with this fruit fly. And then the procedures will be, in the fall, they put, I don't know what it is, some kind of, like a poison, but it's not a chemical. But they put it in there so it'll kill the larvae over the winter. And therefore, we have less of a chance of having them come springtime. So, like I said, this is just to let you know, somebody may be knocking on your door. If you need more information, we have it at the front desk. We don't have a lot of copies because they gave us a packet that's about 30 pages long. Pine Hill Airport grant. Tom and I met with Tim Allen out at the airport. They have been given a grant for a 10,000 gallon gas tank to put their low leaded 100 fuel, aviation fuel into. What he's been doing, because he has a small, couple of 1,000 gallon tank, he's been filling up a tank in his truck and then going up to the airport and offloading from his truck into the tank. Because it's such a small tank, it's very cost prohibitive to have a truck come all the way over there and fill it up every so often. So with this 10,000 gallon tank, that should last him most of the year. So at this time, the one thing that the New York State Department of Transportation, who gave him the grant, they said no problem, but what they want is that we, the town, be the lead agency for it. I sent a copy to Lance. Lance looked it all over. There's no problem with it, correct?
Correct.
So that's the only thing we have to do. Tim is going to take care of filling out the seeker form, long form, so that component is taken care of. We will review that, or our planning board will review that, and come up with any questions that there may be with it. But at this time, Tim is going to fill out the long form seeker. So what I need is a resolution stating that, yes, we will be the lead agency for the Pine Hill Airport fuel grant. Questions?
No, it's just that he's gonna be involved in his engineers and that are laying it all out, and the town isn't gonna have to.
No,
Come up with anything.
the engineer, and I did not bring that with me. The engineer that has been out there with Gene Haynes and is the exact same engineer that he's using at this present time. So he knows all about the airport. And that's the engineer that will be handling all the engineering component part of it.
Okay, because there's a big, long thing on who you can hire and who you can't hire, and I don't think we need to get into that. That should be up to him and
The engineer, yes. The engineer, because New York State law, you have to have a percentage of minorities, you have to have a percentage of women on the workforce. They have to be represented in the workforce that does the work at the airport. And that's up to the engineer to, when they put it out for bid, that's the engineer's.
Part of their RFP.
as long as those are covered, I have no problem with it.
Do I hear a resolution?
I'll make the resolution.
Motion, resolution.
Who made it?
Lynn made it, second. Larry? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I will, compose a letter tomorrow to let Mr. Allen know that we have agreed to be the lead agency with the stipulation that the engineer will handle everything from there on out. And that he will take care of the long form seeker.
For our review.
For our review, yes. Next, Robin Naka was kind enough, and I got the boxes, they're sitting over here right now, but we got to double check to make sure it'll work with our other speaker, which decided not to work tonight. But we got to take a look at it. Robin was very nice to a speaker, a stand for a microphone and the mic, as well as a series of mics for up here at our table. Apparently, I guess I don't speak loud enough, and people in the back of the room can't hear me. So as a result, this way everybody will be able to hear, especially when we get into the warmer weather and the air conditioning kicks on, it gets loud, and we understand that. That's something we were looking at, but that's been put on the back burner about putting in a couple of wall units, heater / air conditioner. So that's where we're at with that right now, but thank you, Robin, very much for your donation to the town.
It actually came from Golden Craft USA. I instituted it, but then on overtime.
Okay, water tank inspection, just got that today. Dale's not here to back me up on that part. Our water tank, they inspected it inside as well as the outside all over. We passed. Everything looks good, but they made a number of recommendations that we should consider down the road, replacement like on the bolts that hold the man covers on for access. They think they should be changed over to stainless steel. It's not mandatory, but it is a recommendation that we do something along those lines. So otherwise, yeah, we passed. So our water tank is in very good condition at this time. Surprisingly, there was only a little bit of rust that was found, and it was on the inside of the top of the dome, that man cover up there, and that whole inside had already been repainted 8-10 years ago.
More than that.
Well,
The inside?
We gotta paint it now.
Remember painting it.
Yeah. The outside hasn't been painted since it was constructed.
I know we had to paint the inside.
Okay,
2008. 2008 was painted.
11 years ago. Okay, card responses, as promised. When we had our workshop on the host agreement, we had promised that anybody, if they had questions, concerns, whatever, put on a 3x5 card and put it in a basket in the back of the room. So I've got those cards right here with responses for them. There was a couple of there was like one question that was asked 3 times, so I will be talking about that as one. if Apex Heritage Cells make the contract retro to every company, not Berry, to maintain something in maintenance, care and maintenance, I guess. The contract that we would have, both through host and pilot, would be mandatory to be carried over in its entirety to the new company. So that we already know. And that is part of it. Need to know how many wind turbines that will be going to be operating, and that would be roughly 32 or 33. One of those two numbers. What is the full megawatts given for payment? If they use the Vestas 182, which is 5.6 megawatts, depending if there's 32 or 33, you can do the math right there. It'd be 5.6 megawatts. And if there's 32 towers, then your 5.6 megawatts times 32 gives you 184.8 megawatts, or 33 would be 190.4 megawatts. There should be a duration in the host agreement for the project. And I would assume that's for the construction and whatnot. And I said there would be, there's a specific time schedule for everything. How much money will the town receive each year that the town can keep to reduce taxes, given the amount, not a percentage? That is difficult to say because there's so many components to it, depending on whether there's 32 or 33 wind turbines, depending on how much per megawatt the town would get paid. At this time, most recently, they said 8,000 per megawatt. So, and then we gotta remember that a portion of that goes towards a pilot. So, which is a small portion of it goes towards the pilot. The majority of that would go towards the town. So that varies, but yes. The second part of that is the reduced taxes. The one thing we are definitely looking at is the reduction of your town taxes with that. What is the pilot program? Which pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes. And we're looking at that component. It allows the project to pay an overall lesser amount than what would otherwise be assessed so that the project is affordable. Without the pilot, no project. Now, pilots, and this is from the IDA, the Industrial Development Agency, are payments that the company or developer agrees to make to local taxing jurisdictions, such as the school districts, counties, cities, towns, or villages, instead of paying property taxes due to the tax exempt status of their property. The COIDA, which is County of Orleans Industrial Development Agency, acts as the agent for these payments and then forwards the appropriate amount onto each tax jurisdiction. A pilot agreement usually lasts from 10 to 30 years, after which the property is no longer tax exempt and the company pays regular property taxes. So that's the pilot. What is the host agreement? The host agreement is something that is a contract that the town and the company, in this case Apex/Heritage, come into agreement where the town receives a portion of the money based, once again, on how much per megawatt. Majority of the school portion should be given to the Berry school taxpayers. That's not something that we or Apex and /Heritage can handle. That is the school district themselves, or even IDA. The school district would have to decide how they want to distribute those funds, not us. Same thing, it says county level, all town of Berry garbage should be minimally be paid for the Berry residents. Once again, that's the county. We don't have any control over that. Recommendations for both of those would be contacting your school district, contact the county and say, wind turbines go in, can we get a tax break? That would be the best way to handle that. We can't do anything about that as a town. There should be a statement where they are connecting to the grid. And I do believe that would be defined in the application. So that will be defined when and if they do the application for the project. Is Apex Heritage a New York State corporation? Can they be sued in New York State? And they are recognized as a company doing business in New York State, therefore, yes, they can be sued. Is Apex going to pay when only one or more turbines are operating, but the whole project is not operating or built? Once the project is all up, once they connect different turbines into, let's say they've got 30 out of 33 wind turbines up and running and they're putting it into the system, that starts the payments to the town and to the pilot. If a turbine is not operating, and you see it when you've gone down to the south or up into the Tug Hill, you'll see sometimes where a wind turbine is not operating at that time. Could be for various different reasons, whether it could be shadow flicker or they're doing maintenance on it, whatever. But so long as it's operational and it has not been decommissioned, the town/pilot still gets paid the same amount per year. It's when it gets decommissioned that we no longer would get any payment from it, and that would be prorated for the year. Insurance. I was asked about insurance, or we were asked about insurances. And when it comes to the insurances, yes, they do carry a liability policy for anything that is damaged by the project. Damaged, destroyed, whatever by the project. So their liability insurance will cover that. Does an Article 78 provide for the host to appeal? And Article 78s are always against the municipality and is opposed by the municipality. If the municipality loses, it can appeal from that ruling. Remember the Article 78, if there is one drawn against the town, Mr. Mark will get to be a busy man, and that's above and beyond what his contract is with us as a town. Anything over 500 feet is listed as an aviation hazard. This is true. This is true. When Apex/Heritage did the PSS, they did it as for 600 feet. They applied to the FAA. The FAA approved it. At this time, though, if they want to go up to 700 feet, they're going to have to reapply, and it's up to the FAA to, if they say no to it, then they're going to either have to say up to 600 feet or they turn their back and walk away. So that's up to the FAA on that component. And that's it on all the cards that we got. Did I say anything incorrectly? Sir?
No, the FAA doesn't approve or not approve. They make a determination whether it's a hazard or a determination of non-hazard. And then if it's a non-hazard, if it's a hazard, then the project would not be insurable and you couldn't finance it and build it. So just a technicality.
Okay. Thank you.
Same effect.
Okay. The host agreement, as you know, we had a workshop 2 weeks ago, and we decide, at this time, we hashed it all out. Some of you were there for that. And at this time, it is now in the hands of the two lawyers, their lawyer and our lawyer. So they're working on that at this time. It's in their hands. So we've got nothing to address with that, with the host agreement at this time. Okay, now for a fun part. Seeker. For our solar law, which has been handed over to us by the planning board, and we have I'm playing with our new toy up here, so be patient with me. There we go. So with the planning board giving us the solar law that they are proposing, we've gone through it, we've made corrections and everything, rehashed it several times, and I think we finally got our final copy. So what we have to do now, so we can get into the county planning board, it has to be in by the 20th, which is next Thursday. So we have to provide them with a seeker long form, part 1, 2, and 3. So, rather than destroy another case of paper, that's why I put it up here for us. Other than my email being incorrect. So anyways, Lee has worked quite a bit on this part here, the component first part. We looked at a seeker part 1 from another town that just submitted theirs not too long ago. And rather than reinvent the wheel, we kind of stole from Peter to pay Paul. So that's how we came up with these answers here to the first part. Now, we'll go down through. Get over here. Funding support, sponsorship support. City council, town board, or village trustees, yes. Everything else is no on there. Well, I'm sorry, county agencies, yes. They're the two agencies that are being involved, which is your county planning board as well as our planning board and our town board. Any changes there or questions there? Letter I, coastal resources. Check them all off as no. Any questions?
How come federal agencies above that isn't a yes or no?
Good question. Lee, you got one you're making notes on? Okay, I will.
We're assuming it'd be.
There we go, I got my copy. Federal agency, it should be yes, correct? Am I correct with that?
Beats the hell out of me.
Oh, it's not a federal, no, it'd be DEC, I'm thinking state, so that should be no. Okay. Okay, part C, planning and zoning. Administrative, if yes, complete C, F, and G. So amendment of the plan, local law, ordinance, rule, or regulation. So the answer would be yes. Will the municipality adopt? Now remember, this isn't for a specific project. This is for solar overall for the whole town. So we gotta do like a blanket seeker like. So yes, because it's an adoption of legislation or a town law, local law. Adopted land use plans. We have a comprehensive plan. So yes on that. Does it include recommendations for the site? Comprehensive plan does have recommendations in it. guess when I spoke, and you see right there under yes, identify the plan, Tinkham, Gates, and Oak Orchard watershed. I spoke with the DEC, and those were three that they had recommended, so that should be a yes, because they had said that those three should be identified. Is proposed action located wholly or partially within an area listed? No. Okay, C. Page 3. Zoning. The site proposed action located in municipality with an adopted zoning law? Yes. Residential, agricultural residential, general business, light industrial, and planned industrial commercial. Is the use permitted or allowed by a special or conditional use permit? Yes. Do I need to read down through all these?
No.
Okay. If something catches your eye, so we can move along through this a little quicker. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for a long time. Existing community services, anything under that? Once again, this is phone calls that I made. As you can see, police at Port Orleans County Sheriff's Department, New York State Police, and the DEC. Fire protection, Berry Fire Department, COVA, and Mercy Flight. What parks serve the project site? Berrytown Park. Questions there, or anything you can think of that we should add? Okay. Project deals. Proposed and potential development. Anything there? Okay. Once again, I also, in filling this out, I had conversations with Brian Napoli and Jim Bensley on this as well. Okay, page 4. This is all no's going down project operations. It was a no, therefore you don't have to fill in the rest of the boxes. Anything on page 4 that we need to question? No? Or am I going too fast right here?
I'm so confused, I'm sorry, but if it says, does the property, action include any excavation, mining, or digging, is that in this no?
This is just for the passing of the law, it has nothing to do with the actual project, so.
And that would fall, they'll have to do another seeker and that would be considered at that time. This is just for the overall project.
The overall legislation, that's, whenever a municipality has to pass a local law like this, they're required under the State Environmental Quality Review Act to review the proposed legislation in the context of that seeker. So when we're talking about a project, in this case, the project is the actual legislation, not the actual development or the construction of the solar panels.
Okay, move on to page 5. Remember, unless it's checked yes, if the first box in each one is checked no, there's no need to follow through with other checks. So, is there anything there you might see? Did I go down too far for you?
You don't have any check?
If you take a look, that they're at the top of page 5,
All right.
there you go.
No, page 5.
We're on
Page 4, no, I'm looking right here, page 4, with the proposed action cause result, and we check no. Then you have lowercase I,
Okay.
lowercase 2 i's, 3 i's.
Gotcha.
In other words, 1, 2, 3 Roman numerals, I
Okay.
said that. Okay, so that's why there's nothing there. Then we go down to letter C. Once again, we have no, so none of those other boxes. Only if you check yes do we need to respond in all the boxes. Is there anything there we need to take a look at or change, modify, etc.? Okay, we'll move on to letter D, which carries on to the next page, as you see right there as well. Nothing, okay. Letter E. Okay. Have a yes? When you go down, the only yes would be, does the proposed minimal plan minimize impervious surfaces or use pervious materials or collect and reuse stormwater? So it's because of the surfaces that we check yes there. Any questions with that part? I like this, everybody's using their monitors.
If we can keep up with you, jump up and down.
I'm trying to, like I said, just like to get through. G, air emissions. So, F is checked off as no, yes. Proposed action include or will it use on-site air emissions? And the answer is no. Air emission sources named. There isn't any, so checked off no again. H, which is on page 7. Monitors all got moved down, man. It's that one right there, supposed to be yours and Tom took it. He's greedy. Okay, so H, once again, having to do with emits methane gas, no. I, air pollutants from open air operations, no. J, will the proposed action result in substantial increase in traffic? No. That's J. K. Produce action for commercial or industrial projects only, generate new or additional demand for, it's not gonna produce a demand for more energy. It will produce more energy to be sold off, but not where they need to absorb energy. So that answer is no. Or use that energy. Hours of operation, it's all passive operation. Everything looking okay so far, guys?
How do you know they won't use pesticides or herbicides? They probably
Yep.
isn't enough goats to take care of all of them.
No, you can't use goats because they'll jump on there. You know, like sheep, yes, sheep, can't use sheep. Unless we let them put them about 5 feet higher.
Of course, I believe the state will go over this and probably send it back anyway.
Well, once again, this is the overall project. that would be identified in their specific seeker.
Well, they'll be reviewing this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're gonna take our word for it. Mhm.
Anything else, gentlemen? Okay, page 9. Have nothing to do with a solid waste facility. Hazard waste has nothing to do with that. Land uses surrounding project site, so those are all the different project, zones. Commercial zone, residential zone, all the different zones where they could possibly be adjacent or on. All the NAs is what they recommended that we put on there. Questions? You're shaking your head, Rich.
Move it, move it.
Oh, okay. You must want to get home and watch St. Louis beat Chicago tonight. Okay. This is page 10. They had us put in here general recreation, could be like your hunters and so on at this present time. Or someone that just likes to walk through the woods and take pictures. Anything else?
No.
We don't have an existing dam. Okay, on to page 11. Natural resources on or near project site. Depth of the bedrock, it will vary. We don't have any outcroppings other than those that like Keeler or Mix, but they're not outcroppings, they're buried down in the ground. Various soil types. To really tell you the truth, I don't know if we've got any grades that are 15% or greater. Surface water features, yeah, half our town is floodplain. Or I should say wetlands.
This year, 3/4.
Okay, and I was told to be very generic with that as well. I was told that we are in a 100-year floodplain is what the DEC told me. So that's why that was checked yes. Page 12.
So wildlife species is not filled in.
Which one's that?
Back it up a
Identify the predominant wildlife species that occupy or use the project site. I assume it's probably deer and migratory birds.
It said endangered or threatened.
Identify the predominant wildlife species.
Oh,
that
M.
occupy-
I'm sorry. Let me go back before. Okay,
What's above that one, John?
located over or immediately adjoining a primary, principal, or sole source aquifer.
The next one down, that's L.
That, yeah, that's L. Well, you asked for the one previous to
No,
that.
I didn't know if it pertained to
Yeah.
that.
So M doesn't even give us a yes or a no box.
You have to fill
Okay.
that out.
So
Maybe put Bambi.
Bambi,
Bumper,
turkey,
rabbits,
fox,
skunks. I
skunks.
don't know if they're predominant. It says predominant. What are the majority of wildlife?
Wish I could put pheasant down. Anything else?
Normal wildlife.
Good point,
That's how it's.
good point. That's what's going on there, okay. Okay.
Can I ask Lance a question? He said this was just for the legislation. You guys are going way farther than the legislation.
Well, in terms of construction, that's one thing. In terms of being able to perceive, since this is gonna be town-wide, what the ultimate impact may be on wildlife or things like that. That's why we're going through it like this. Better to be more thorough than less thorough.
Letter Q, project site or adjoining area currently used for hunting, trapping, fishing, or shellfish. They told me put not applicable, but check yes. E3, project site area, it's in the Orleans County, obviously. Don't know what the number is, that's something the county can do. Highly productive soils present. If yes, how much acreage? It's unknown. So that's what I put down here is unknown. It's not on there, but I wrote it on here. Unknown. Next two are no. Page lucky 13. Okay, all no's down through there. And then we, just at the very end. Anything else I need to put on here? We're good, okay.
Yeah, sign it to the best of our ability
Okay.
and finger.
No, not yet. Because with lawn form, we also have part two, which basically is the same stuff all over again.
We'll take your word for it. We'll take your word.
We went down through, and this one is just like my handwritten copy that I have right here. Development in accordance with the zoning code will minimize impact on sensitive land. Anything with page 1? Page 2. As far as I could see, no and no. Okay. There's grumbling. Page 3, number 4, impact on groundwater. There should be none, based on what they're looking for. 5, impact on flooding. It's not gonna cause more flooding than what we already have. Impacts on the air. None. Impact on plants and animals. Once again, no on that. Impact on agricultural resources, marked yes, but it would be no or small impact may occur. Mostly no impact. Anything? I'm sorry?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm just moaning in pain.
Well, I was gonna put one in front of everybody and have them all fill it out. I'm trying to shorten the process here. Okay, number 9, impact on aesthetic resources, once again, no. Based on what the law, in reading the law over, that is proposed, with berms and planting of vegetation and so on, should block that out. Impact on historic and archaeological resources, no. Page 7. Impact on open space and recreation, it has no impact there, like for our park and so on, no. Or future recreational resources. Critical environmental areas, none there once again. Page 8. Impact on transportation, no. Impact on energy, in other words, are they gonna absorb more energy than they produce? The answer would be no. Impact on noise, odor, or light, once again, no. Page 10 of 10. Impact on human health, once again, no there. Anything, gentlemen, with that? What was that, consistency? By mistake, there's 10 of 10. Consistency with community plans is not consistent, it is consistent with land use plans. And consistency with community character. It's not inconsistent with existing community character, no. Any questions with any of that? Okay. And then for part 3, there's not much to it. I I sent that one down to you, you should have that in your pile somewhere. Part 3, Foley Environmental Assessment Form, evaluation of the magnitude and importance of project impacts and determination of significance. On page 2, I filled out the contact information on it. Okay, if you look on page 2, I don't know if I'm going past backwards here or what,
I don't know where they
A.
are.
this one,
Yeah, it's not on
no, that's one I passed down. I made copies.
Somebody ate it. The gremlin got it.
The Gremlin did? Yeah, for Christ's sakes. Well, that was great.
I'll turn the air on and then tell us.
I know I ran that off. Did I attach it to something else? I don't know where it is, guys.
Just read it.
Okay, part 3 basically provides for the reasons in support of the determination of significance. Lead agency must complete part 3 for every question in part 2 where the impact has not or has been identified as potentially moderate to large, or where there is a need to explain why a particular element of the proposed action will not or may result in a significant adverse environment. Any yeses we had were for small impact may occur, no or small impact. Nothing was moderate or large. Based on the analysis in part 3, the lead agency must decide whether to require an environmental impact statement to further assess the proposed action, or whether available information is sufficient for the lead agency to conclude that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse environmental impact. By completing the certificate on the next page, the lead agency can complete its determination of the significance. Okay, so on the following page, upon review of the information recorded on this EAF as noted, plus the additional support information, and considering both the magnitude and importance of each identified potential impact, it is the conclusion of the Town of Berry as lead agency that A, this project will result in no significant adverse impacts on the environment, and therefore an environmental impact statement need not be prepared. Accordingly, this negative declaration is issued. B, although this project could have a significant adverse impact on the environment, that impact would be avoided or substantially mitigated because of the following conditions which will be required by the lead agency. Or C, this project may result in one or more significant adverse impacts on the environment. We did not check any adverse conditions whatsoever. So do we have a negative declaration?
To the best of our ability.
Okay. Okay, then. Is that it? Yep. The motion. Why do you have resolution?
Because it will be a resolution once you pass the motion.
Why can't it be interchangeable? Okay, first, the motion.
Didn't like mine.
Okay. PH? Ah, that's for the public hearing. Well, first I have to do a motion on
The secret.
the seeker. So I can do a motion on the seeker.
Ask for a motion to pass the
Okay,
I move that we
pass the
pass
secret.
the seeker with all the changes.
Okay,
I'll
so
second it.
you got all those, right? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. I even lost my agenda now. There it is. All Lance's. Okay, the seeker's been passed. Now,
Now,
need a motion,
to make a resolution.
a motion for a public hearing for the solar law on, what's this right here?
You need a motion to hold a public hearing on the solar law on July 6th.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but I saw this right here.
County Planning Board.
Yeah.
And it's because that'll be the way the resolution reads.
Public hearing on the solar law, let me make it, well, full documentation here. To hold a public hearing on the solar law for July 2nd at 6 PM. That is pending, because we're gonna send this now to county planning. They will work on it on the 27th. So this is pending any recommendations given to us by the public or from the county planning board. So the motion is, we would like to advertise for a public hearing for July 2nd at 6 PM on the solar law, pending recommendations from the county planning.
I'll make that motion.
Second? Anybody second?
I'd second it, but that's my anniversary, I may not be here. Good for you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Yes, it's solar.
Did you take this?
Yes. He can't be here, but he could get a second. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's his anniversary. Okay.
Gotta get this in.
Yeah, Mario will do that tomorrow. For the public hearing.
The notification.
Yeah. And then we get that 30-day window.
If the notification is, if the motion is passing, after you put notification,
Okay,
we don't know if we're gonna have it.
now if I can find that. Resolution on Water District 9.
Supervisor Bowe, how can there be a notification if it may not happen, the public hearing?
It is, we're putting out a notification
So then the.
that there will be a public hearing,
and
but
then-
it'll be based upon a recommendation from the county. Now, as I said, I spoke with both Jim Bensley, which is the county planning board. I spoke with Brian Napoli, county planning board, and they had given me guidance on this, plus I got added information from the DEC and soil and water and so on. So everything should be up to snuff. They might make a minor recommendation about changing a word in here or something, but so long as there's nothing major, we will have a public hearing.
How would notification, I understand that, but in the case that it does have to be rescheduled, how would the public be notified?
It'll be once again publicized. We'll put it out publicly that it's gonna be changed to another date.
That you would ask for another public hearing. Because you'd have to
Okay,
have it
you hear that, Tim?
You have to have it at a meeting.
Yeah.
You can't call for another public hearing unless
You're,
it's at a meeting.
you're looking at the county changing some of this, right?
And I doubt they're gonna change
Well,
it.
if they do, when we've got it back, what's the difference of having a public meeting and let them know what the recommendations or comments from the county were?
No, I think that what he's saying is that he intends to have the county's review and recommendations on hand before the public
Public
hearing.
hearing.
So,
So we should be able to handle it all. There shouldn't be anything really to speak of. Knock on wood.
Sean, excuse me, the draft, now this is gonna be like the final that you're talking about having for the public hearing?
It's not final, it'll still be a draft of the public hearing.
Still
It's
be the
not
draft?
final until the board votes on it and approves it as town law.
Okay, it'll still be the draft that was on the computer where we printed
Yes.
that out? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, Water District 9.
Did we make a resolution? Yes, we did.
Water District 9, I wanted to read that as exactly as it is, if you got that there. Oh, I got it. No, this one, yep.
I don't think you had a vote on the public hearing or refer to the county planning board.
To the county
To
planning
send
board.
it to the county?
Yeah.
We didn't have that resolution.
I move we send this to the county.
Let's send it, okay.
second it.
All in favor? Second. Opposed. It's been a long day. Okay.
Now we're
Have you got all this?
To send the proposed local law to the county planning board for review.
Yes. Okay, and we did have the motion. We gotta do a resolution.
no,
What kind of resolution?
you don't need a resolution.
Okay, Water District 9. I'm just throwing this stuff into a pile now. There we go, I found it. Nope, that's not it. Did I give that back to you? The one on the resolution on Water District 9?
No, you took it. I got it.
Oh, right there. Okay. Gentlemen, I need a resolution now for MRB to authorize the Town of Berry Water District Number 9 project for bid once all permits, approvals, and easements have been obtained with a bid date to be established by MRB Group. Any discussion on this?
Yes.
Just so that, I don't, go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I wanna make sure they put extensions on every hydrant. And that should be included in the bid, in my opinion. Cause that's a high snow zone over there and we don't have midgets that can get down in the ditch and turn on a hydrant.
Okay.
So I would move that with that recommendation. Subject to Lance's approval.
Okay. That would be something that had to be discussed in construction.
Well, the only thing, I have not been notified by MRB Group of any necessary private easements, so I don't know if there are any or not. Usually what happens, if they gotta go across private property, as part of the easement, we prepare a written easement that the town enters into with that property owner, and it gets recorded in the county clerk's office. So typically, we need to know from the engineers if we are going to require any private easements.
You got that?
I have that. I don't have that. So are you saying that's
We need to
not
know
needed at
about
this
any
point?
private easements.
No.
No, that's two separate things.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. At this time, are you waiting to look to see if we
No,
have
we-
those private easements?
The engineers will tell me which property owners, which ones are required to have.
Oh, it says
easements.
impending easements.
Yeah, but I don't know, they will identify which properties by tax map, parcel, and owner. And then I prepare the easements, the property owner signs it, the town signs it, and then we record those.
Okay.
No, you can look at the notes.
I can contact them, that's fine. Okay,
Okay.
so
So
I'll
can
just
we-
make a note to myself.
Can we, because it does say easements in here, we can go ahead with this one then?
Yeah.
Okay, so authorizing the town of Berry Water District Number 9 project for bid once all permits, approvals, and easements have been obtained with a bid date to be established by MRB Group. In addition, we want to make sure that extensions are placed on the hydrants.
I move.
I second.
Rich and Larry. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. Last item, a resolution on reimbursement agreement. We're gonna table that at this time and readdress it later. So supervisors, financials. Receipts for the month. We took in $88,564.88 expenses. Through the end of May, we have used 41.65% of the annual budget. Town has utilized 45.77% and the highway department has used 33.59% of their budget to date. Dale's not here. His report, stakeouts, sign repairs, water samples and readings, equipment repairs. Brooks attended the water conference for 3 days, mowing roadsides, and he's the one that got up here on 98 and Westbury. The state hasn't gotten there and didn't get there, and that was, anybody that was going onto 98 from Westbury Road knew you cannot look to the left to catch traffic going south. You had to go way out in the intersection. So Dale went on over there and they cut that all down. Him and one of the other guys cut that all down and weed whacked around out there. So now you can easily see north before somebody gets injured. Mowing roadsides, they've done the best they could without sinking into the mud everywhere. So they've been trying to stay on top of that. Tree removals with the Orleans County Highway, and attended financial meeting with myself and Miss Beach, and they've done hot patching. I just read what he wrote. Okay, Miss Beach, anything?
For you and for everybody else, yeah.
Don't they have to sign something?
No.
Oh. There's one passed down, this one's for me.
Check.
I'll put that right there.
No.
Nothing from the assessor. Highway, Larry, anything to add?
Yes. I went with Dale yesterday. We got there at 8 o'clock for the meeting for the park, for the insurance. We should be writing everything down we do, just in case anything happens, like with the playground equipment, backstops. Anything we do should be in writing. So if there's a problem, like with Lance, like to see paperwork, it's gotta be documented. And 98, which is a drag strip right now, make sure you pass somebody. We need the revenue up here because you don't get a ticket. It's double lines. And it's under construction, that's why the double lines are there. And the ticks is a big thing now. There's a new variety. Keep your grass short and along the woods, keep it back if you're gonna go through trails. There is a new tick out there. So that was about it.
Okay. Planning board.
Yes.
Kirk?
We had 2 public hearings. The first one was, Berry Stone is expanding their quarry, 31A. Gonna be about 15 acres. And it's kind of right in the middle of where they're already, where the quarry is. So it isn't really gonna go any further to the east. And there was no comments, so that was passed. The other public hearing was for Josh Piscatelli. He has a driveway seal business. He's just north of Westbury on Eagle Harbor Road. And this is the second public hearing that he hasn't come to. He wants to revamp a barn. We're not quite sure if there's a barn there now, or was a barn, a coverall barn, which blew away, and maybe he wants to put up a pole barn or something. But there was issues, there was complaints, his upkeep around there is kind of on the slide. And we decided that we would have our zoning officer send him a letter and try and address this. And there was also,
Correction, it's the planning board that's sending the letter. Yeah, sorry.
well, you're gonna write it.
Huh? I'm writing it? Oh, okay.
That's about it.
Okay. Zoning board, anything from them, Lee?
No, we have not met and will not be meeting this morning.
Park committee?
They're using the park.
I did get a report from Jason Brook.
He was at that meeting yesterday too.
Yeah. Jason Foote. And I had requested from him an update insofar as what they've been doing down there in the park. He was at the meeting yesterday with Dale and Larry on the park about safety factors and so on. He wrote that the town highway department, Greg Bennett and himself have been working hard to get the 2 baseball fields playable because of all the wet conditions we've got, and it is wet out there. We have the Next Level Baseball Academy, that's what it's called, Next Level Baseball Academy, scheduled for the 2 baseball fields for July 15th through the 19th. It's a day camp for boys and girls ages 8 through 18. The Hogue Library plans to use the pavilion for Thursday morning reading times during the summer. I don't know when that's starting or exactly what times in the morning, but if you contact the Hogue Library if you're interested, that's Thursday mornings for reading times. The Berry Betterment Committee is having a square dance June 22nd, as you heard. The Berry Cubs' first game at the park, and he wrote that today, so that's going on right now. Or it might even be over by now. He's added wooden shelves to the Little League shed, cleaned out the junk and old equipment from the shed and dugout. Town Highway is planning to relocate the concession stand to the southeast corner of the parking lot. It needs to be cleaned up inside yet, so they're gonna move that over a little closer to the Little League field. The softball field and the soccer fields, which are on the other side of the baseball and the Little League fields, are still not usable. They are still, it's still a swamp in there yet. So we're unable to do anything there at this time. He met with Jay Grasso, or we both met, both Jason and I met with Jay Grasso, grant writer. Regarding potential planning grant for the park, the planning grant will allow the town to pay for engineering and planning services to further develop and or add amenities to the park and develop a concept plan with a phased approach for completion. Jay was saying that by getting this planning grant, the likelihood of getting other grants is intensified. It makes it easier for us to get some other grants if we have a formal plan in place. So, and he says he's been talking with somebody at the state level about this, and it looks real good that we should be able to get that. He attended the NYMER insurance class on June 11th with Dale and Larry. That was yesterday. Town Highway is planning to add more wood chips to the playground to make compliant existing playground equipment. The existing playground equipment is okay to continue to use. The concern was that merry-go-round one out there, because we had heard rumors that those are very unhealthy for youngsters. And I don't know about you guys, but I remember spinning around till I got motion sickness on those things. The only difference is right now is, I forgot how much Dale said, Larry.
7 inches. You gotta have
7
a
inches?
minimum of 7 inches right there, so the kids don't crawl under there.
7 inches of mulch in the whole playground area for bounce factor, and also so they don't crawl underneath that spinning top thing. So that's something we're looking at getting. Dale said like 2 truckloads of mulch is what we're gonna need. He just sent me the number on that this afternoon. I did not bring it in. But based on yesterday's meeting, there's a whole bunch of things that his recommendations are for upgrades at the park. So we're gonna be looking at that. Utilities. Have you heard anything, Rich?
Not a thing.
I have sent an email out to National Grid to find out what the story is, where we are, because we paid the money to get our street lights all converted over to LED. So I sent him a letter requesting where are we in that pecking order? When can we plan on this occurring? I haven't heard back yet, but I just wrote that like on Monday, because it popped in my head all of a sudden. Okay. Lance, anything?
Nothing that we haven't discussed already.
Okay. Then, we move on to the fun part. Speakers. Okay, last time we drew names out of a hat. This time, I'm just gonna bounce around. We're not going in sequential order whatsoever. So, first speaker's gonna be Dr. McKenna. He's not here, is
No,
he?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's been a long day.
I had something written up in that, but I'm late. I didn't get here in time, and I don't think I should say today.
Okay. The next person. Mr. John Metzler.
Yeah, did anyone see the new Apex cartoon on the hub? I was just wondering if anybody saw that.
Yes.
It's just more rhetoric and more money, give us some money, give us some money, give us some money. And along with that, one of the people interviewed mentioned land rights, but I didn't see Carrie Richardson interviewed or the bus driver from that locale that says the population of children that ride the buses is diminished by 50%. None of that was mentioned. Then I'll go on to another thing. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened on the 29th here. As some of you are aware of it, the police had to be summoned. And let me just give you words of Thomas Jefferson. In a question of power, then let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down by mischief, by the chains of the Constitution. And then I had to mention this to the 2 town board members who tried to throw us off of somebody else's property and have us remove our signs during a picket. Amendment number 1 to the Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. If anybody would like a copy, I have a whole bunch of pocket copies of the Constitution. Would you like one, Sean? Mr. Mathis, would you like one, sir?
No, thanks.
Okay. All right. Then I'm going to go on to when Mr. Pope approached us. His demeanor and his behavior was something less than what we would expect of a town official. It was, in my opinion, aberrant behavior. And we had to summon the police because what happened was Mr. Pogue slammed his truck into reverse after trying to get us to remove our signs. And if she had not, these are her words, if I hadn't jumped out of the way, he would have run me over. The woman is 6 months pregnant. What frightened us even more and made us complete our decision to summon the police was that Mr. Pogue stuck his head out the window after I screamed at him to stop and said that he had seen the lady. So what was going on inside of your head, I don't really know. I have the police report here. If the town board would like, I can read it into the record. But what I'm asking for is a sanction for Mr. Pogue. I'm also asking for a public apology to anybody that was down there, and particularly to Miss Moyer. I have a message on my phone from her. She has back trouble already with being pregnant. And her last comment to me was, it may not have hurt me, but it sure didn't help me when I had to. Now, we'll go on to Mr. Harling's comments and his hit piece on the hub. And it was a hit piece attacking the opposition to the proposed wind project here. And in it, he said, he said that, let me see, he said that the criticisms were unwarranted. But in regard to what happened on the 29th and other events that we've had to suffer through with members of this town boards proper, I think that a lot of the criticism is warranted. And I wrote down here, just as my note to Mr. Harling. He's not here, so it's not really fair, but I'm sure you can get it on the video. And yes, Mr. Harling, I believe some of the criticisms of many of the members of our boards is warranted. In fact, I believe they all are. Oh, and you said it best. My dad has a lease and we need the money. It's always about the money. Now, when Mr. Mathis spoke on the video, he said, well, we heard money, then we heard, well, I'll paraphrase. It's about property rights and we should be able to do what we want on our property. However, my question to him and the town boards would be, what happens to the adjacent landowners who are affected either by eminent domain or by having to look at the turbines or suffer the health consequences? All of which the town board refuses to acknowledge at this point. Now, what I would ask the town board is what I've asked for the past almost 3 years. I'm asking the town board to put it on the 2019 ballot and let the citizens of Barre decide whether we're gonna get a wind project or not. They're the ones that are gonna suffer all the consequences. Their energy bills are gonna go up. The animals are gonna disappear. The birds are gonna be killed. Our eagles are gonna be gone. And on and on and on it goes. Have a nice laugh, Larry. You're a funny guy. You're a real funny guy.
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. Miss Robin Nacka.
Robin Napa, 4285 Old Orchard Road. To the board, just a few moments ago, you passed the solar respective law, okay? Did anyone think, before you send it on to the county, as to what solution is mandated to clean the plates? And does that solution flow into the land that's going to hurt the wildlife? I have not reviewed or studied the situation, but I would like to have some feedback on it, okay? The second thing is, I'm bringing up Barre Rural Homeowners Committee. I've given you all a paper on it. And at this time, I want to thank the many folks, that some of them are here, that have contributed a great deal to our shall I say, bank, because it's not just money, but we have food, baby items, and a whole lot of things now that we can help people with. And especially people that have moved in, we like to take a nice basket and say hello. Anyone that would like to come to greet the folks or take a basket with us, we'd love to have you. We're all living together, and it makes no difference whether it's the Barre Committee or the Real Homeowner Committee. We're all trying to work together to do things that are nice for each of us. And we're all Christians and we need to work together. Thank you very much and have a pleasant day.
I just have a comment on that. How come you can't have more than 85 acres?
Well,
It's discrimination as far as I can see.
that might be being removed, but it has to be voted on by all the parties. And because our president was sick, we didn't have a meeting to have that brought up. So that was asked by one of the board members at that time when we started. However, we are bringing it up for a vote at our meeting. Okay? And it can be, it doesn't have to be a member. If you read on, there's 2 portions and anybody can belong to it.
But you got the 85 acres in there, so take it out.
85 acres is for a member, but there's no discrimination at all to be a sponsor.
Well, I take it as there's discrimination.
I have had others mention that, that's why I'm going to bring it up at all meetings. But thank you.
You want me to speak? You want me to speak? Part of the reason for the development, if I can speak,
I'm
He's
sorry.
already talked.
well, you're asking questions.
No, I just addressed her, that's it. If you're going by the rules, there was rules, right? He's all done. He went to that meeting.
Okay, Ms. Loss.
I didn't hear anything, so yes.
Okay. I got you down twice, don't I?
Well, you can ask me again, and maybe I'll.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. That missed. I'll go to the first one on top. That's Miss Barbara Verberg. No? Okay. Miss Carrie Richardson.
Carrie Richardson, East Berry Road. I'd like to start off just by presenting a formal request that Clear Skies of Berry be able to address the town board at the next town board meeting on the agenda. So it's the July board meeting in regards to the proposed Heritage Wind project and some insights that we would like to share. The next thing that I wanted to just discuss is to just reiterate that we don't want to, and I think that I feel like everybody should be on the same page with this. We don't want to agree to a host community agreement until we know all of the information about this proposed project. And that means that until at the minimum after the application is submitted. We don't know for sure the number of turbines. They say about 33, but everything that they've submitted statewide still says 47. We don't know for sure the location of the turbines. That's changed. I have 3 different maps, I believe. We don't know for sure the height of the turbines. There's so many variables, and that host community agreement is a payment for what is going to occur in our community. So I just want to reiterate that no vote should be taken on this until after the application has been submitted and we're able to really evaluate the impact on our community. The second thing I wanted to share is that at that last meeting on the 29th, I shared with you an Excel sheet that went based off of what was submitted by Ben Yasmin describing the different host community agreements. You'll notice that there were blanks. There were projects that were left off that didn't have information about host community agreements. One of them being the Maple Ridge project. And I have heard that that one is a $25,000 per megawatt host community agreement. And so that's something I have sent an email and requested a copy of that, but I have not received that yet. I also had the opportunity to share, to speak with Neil after that last meeting on the phone. My averages were off because my averages that I shared at the previous town board meeting did include the non-reoccurring first year payments. But then if you look at the other projects, it still should be considered. So right now, the average is still $8,200, which is still more than what they're offering. And they've been touting, as can be seen on the hub, how great the High Sheldon facility was, how wonderful that tour was. Well, guess what? They're getting $10,000 a year per megawatt. And there are smaller turbines, less invasive, less hazardous, and they're getting that amount. So why should the town of Barry, why are they only offering us $8,000 at this point in time? He did also share that he doesn't consider the 07-09 host community agreements as much because the price of electricity was so high at that point. This is a long-term agreement, and I just want to encourage the town board to not look at those, at their business. That's his job. He needs to be looking at those numbers and those specifics, but that's not ours, and we should not settle. The price of electricity varies, so why should we be considering that, whereas the impact on our community will not change? Next thing that I wanted to just bring up is that just for your information, so there are about 76 different leaseholders for the proposed Heritage Wind project. 25 of them, or 33%, so a third of those leaseholders are not Barry residents. Also, that number is equates to 4,433.027 of the acres that are non-Barry residents owned. So that's 50% of the total 8,883.865, which is, these are the numbers that I've had. They may have changed since I've got them, but that's 50% of the land that's being leased. The residents, the people who own those properties, don't live in the town of Barry and won't necessarily be directly impacted. And I think that that should be considered when making decisions, that we have to value the over almost 1,900 residents who reside in the town of Barry. So those were my comments. Again, just want to reiterate that to please don't rush into the host community agreement, because we don't know the information. You know, I personally, when you talk about host community agreements and pilots, you're talking about economic development. And I see there's businesses in this town that have more than 8 to 12 employees that aren't getting a host community agreement.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk Mathis.
Yeah, Kirk Mathis, Roseberry. Addressing the town board, one of your regulations or you're asking is to keep it to one topic. I'd like to see you start enforcing that. I think John had 5, Robin had 2, Carrie had a few. Keep it to one.
I see what you're talking about that. I have that right there on the fifth bullet. Please keep your subject matter to one topic.
It's all about turbines.
No, not one topic.
Okay. So noted. Thank you, Mr. Matt. Anything else? Okay, thank
Just
you.
one topic, Sean.
Where's the freedom of speech, Mr. Mathis?
Enough.
We don't have it, that's right.
Okay, next. Mr. William Nacka.
Right here.
Okay. Jan Grabowski, Mr. Grabowski.
Janice Grabowski, I work for Orleans County Board of Elections. I would like to invite everybody here to come in and see the new offices the county put on an addition. The Board of Elections is moving in July 8th. Don't come July 8th. If you, more than welcome to come, like July 15th, I'd gladly take you on a tour. There's going to be a primary here at the town hall for Republicans only, June 25th. You can choose, if you want to, who you would like to vote for sheriff. When you get that ballot, I just want you to know that there's been a lot of work that goes into that ballot. And we have 2 technicians, Rich Nenny and Scott Bennett. And they are the ones that program the ballot, get the ballots ready, deliver the machines. And I just want an interesting point to let you know. Scott Bennett has worked for Orleans County Board of Elections since he was 18 years old. Thank you.
Well, he's only 20 now, right?
I know, yes.
And I do want to back up what Ms. Grabowski had to say there. I was there for the ribbon cutting yesterday and got a grand tour of all the nooks and crannies before they become isolated areas. Her office, very nice area, as soon as you walk in the front door is right there to the left. The chambers upstairs, very nice. It is a very good looking building. And it's gonna be chaotic there for the next couple of weeks when everybody's slowly moving in. They're doing department by department. But if you do have a chance to go down, take Ms. Grabowski up on her offer for a little tour. Go on down and check it out. Okay. Miss Maura Moy.
Okay, I'm gonna talk two things, sorry. One thing, I wanna remind you all about the dump. Remember how we tore at each other? And we ripped at each other? Let's not go back. I hate to see this town rip each other apart again. Let's not do this again. We let people from the outside do this to us before. Start using common sense. These people are your neighbors. These are people that you are going to see every day, well after, hopefully we'll all be around after. These are your friends, your neighbors, your family members, some of them voting in different ways. But these are your friends and neighbors, people you grew up with, some of you went to school with. Whether they have your opinion or not, I don't care. Remember, when the windmills are gone or the windmills are here, these are your friends and neighbors. And stop and think about what you say now, because words hurt a lot more than all the other things that happen. I remember how many people got hurt the last time. It's ridiculous. You're grown-ups. Don't act like kindergarten. Okay, the only other thing I have to say is please make sure that the homeowners get something out of this. Not just the county or just the school board. I want to make sure the town of Barre homeowners get something out of this. I know this man, he's my lawyer. And I trust him with my life. And I have to. All right. Well, that's true. My father was a lawyer and I didn't trust him. But I know he'll do his best for us. But you as a board, and I trust every man I see up there, and I trust Maureen even more. But I also don't know the other lawyers, sorry fella, but make sure the town of Barre homeowners. Now the people who own the land in the town of Barre, I know most of them, and I know that they're doing the best they can. But don't blame them because they're doing what they're doing because it's their land. But just remember, your neighbors. You do the same thing if it was your property and you're trying to help your families. Don't be ridiculous. You do the same thing if it was offered for you and you needed the money. We're not all millionaires in the town of Barre, even though everybody thinks we are. Just be good to each other. And the next time you go to church, or whether you do go to church or not, the guy you're sitting next to, he's your neighbor. Sorry, I'm just getting ridiculous. It's beginning to remind me of the dump. That's all I have to say, and if I'm preaching too bad, get with it.
Thank you, Ms. Moy. Okay, it's not my phone. Miss McKenna.
It's kind of gonna be a little bit of a production here. Okay, so they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. And boy, I'll tell you, we got this picture, and, all right.
If you break it, I'll buy it.
Don't fall. Don't fall.
Oh, okay. So, George and I went down to Sheldon
and, or, right, and there were, there were a lot of people there that had no idea that they were really going to be this tall. You see that, you guys? You can't even see the bottom. These are massive. These are not.
You're not even getting it all.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I wanted you to be able to see the bottom. So now if I go all the way to the top, these things are massive. Do you see how it dwarfs the water tower? Look at that. Okay, so when people get sent postcards that make it look like, oh, it's this lovely little field, and off in the distance is a little teeny tiny windmill. And it's a windmill, it's not an industrial wind turbine. These are industrial wind turbines. You know, I agree with you, Laura. Get with it, people. Understand what we are doing to this agricultural community. These are industrial wind turbines. They are not agricultural. They are industrial wind turbines. There would be, according to the last numbers, I believe, of 32 or 33, if that's an accurate number, all over, for many of us, no matter which way we look, our rural community will no longer be a rural agricultural community. This is industrialization of Barre. And yes, there are changes. There are changes that happen. But what about the people that will be benefiting from this and quite a bit, benefiting quite a bit? But what about the people that have land here as well that may say, you know what? This is not God's country anymore. This is industrial country. This is not what I want to look at. And I want to leave. And you know what? Do you think, honestly, other people are going to say, oh yeah, woohoo, I can't wait to go and look at these all day and hear these and have the impact of their health and then also lose the value of their property. No one's going to want to look at these, you guys. They're not going to want to hear them. It's disruptive to sleep. It's disruptive to health. Please think about it. Please think about what you are forcing for a green dollar. What you are forcing other people to have to look at. For the very smaller percentage of people that will be benefiting by this, how many people are going to be losing? Losing, losing, losing. Losing property value, losing sleep, losing health. Please think about it. Please, look at that. Massive, massive, massive. Can you guys even see down there? How little? Go and stand at the base of the water tower. It's massive. You stand at the base of the water tower and you're like, holy cats, that's huge. It's nothing. Don't be a community that looks back and says, holy crap, I had no idea how big they would be. But if, as Dr. Pogue said, you have 2 peer-reviewed studies, which I asked you for copies of or information about them through an email, and I have not yet received information on it. So if we're so sure that there will be no property value, property devaluation, offer us a guarantee. Offer us a guarantee. If it's that easy, and if it's so wonderful, how come there's not people, anybody that I talk to from Apex, none of them live where they are? If they're so wonderful and people want them, why don't all the people in the cities want them? Perfect timing, thank you.
Now you're gonna do a double flip.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Alex Naka
Okay.
and Mr. Richard Cox.
I got a couple of things and they're tied into the town here. One is, I mentioned about that draft. I tried to get into it today on the computer, and it's not coming up on my computer. So has it been taken off?
No.
Because I went right in like you showed me how to do it, clicked on it, and it would not come up. I tried 2 different ways on it, and it wouldn't come up.
Okay, I'll check into it.
And the other thing is, if we, has the town had any zoning meetings this year?
They've had one, I think, I don't know, he's not, oh, wait a minute, Cindy, you're on it, right?
Yeah, we've met, we didn't meet last month, this month, we've met, I think, in April, so we've met about 3 or 4 times.
But there's no minutes on for the zoning meeting. None whatsoever, up to today.
Okay, anything else?
Well, I can only talk about one topic, but I talked 2, so I guess I can't say no more.
I will give you permission, sir. You got another one?
Yeah, LaBella, back in 2018, September, there was a survey done and they come up with results. Has there been any more survey done by LaBella or the town?
No,
The
sir.
town, I'm saying now.
No, sir.
Why not? More people are out there and more people are aware of what's going on. I feel that should be another survey.
Okay, we'll take that into
Definitely.
consideration. Okay, sir.
Is
Thank you.
there any, I just put my horse down, so
I can't quite hear you.
I just put my horse down, so I was not even thinking about calling to put my name up. So I wondered if I could just take a minute, please.
1 minute?
Sure. I didn't know if there was something that could be done. There's tires been dumped on Culver Road again. And I didn't know if that was a town address, or if it was the owners that needed to be addressed, but there's tires being dumped on Culver Road. There's quite a pile there now. The other day, when I turned on our water, it smelled and tasted like lead. And I wasn't sure what was up with that, and I just wondered if you knew of anything that was going on, but it was pretty bad. My dog wouldn't even drink the water. National Grid apparently is going around and they're gonna start trimming trees. I had a gentleman stop today and he told me that they would be coming around in the area and trimming trees, and I didn't know if you knew that.
Dale might, but I do that. None of us do that.
Someone also had asked me if I knew how to possibly reduce or make note somehow heavily. They live right in Berry Center, and they said that the speeding in Berry Center is really bad. And I mean, I don't know where to go with that, so, sort of, I told them call the, state troopers or whatever.
What did you say about their stuff?
Speeding, people are going too fast.
Oh, honey, they start and they go boom, right
Well,
through.
somebody is concerned, they've got some kids and they're concerned, and they just wondered if there was something.
Recommendation, like you said, would be best contact, state police generally are the ones that monitor this out there, and I saw one, first time I ever saw him, he's tucked up real tight against the, fire hall right there.
That's their little speed trap.
Yeah, I've seen them like on Maple and so on, but that's the first time I ever noticed them, all these years, sitting right there tight against the fire hall. So the state.
They're always, they never speed to you.
Well, I guess I'm blind, cause I'm always doing the speed limit. Sheriff's Department.
Sheriff's Department is down at the park many mornings when I go to work.
Yeah, they're always at the fire hall, that's their.
But those would be the recommendation, contact the state police and the sheriff's department. I know when I got a complaint about speeding over on Johnny Cake. And I told them to contact the sheriff's department, I got a hold of the sheriff's department as well. So Sheriff Bauer called the landowner specifically, and so we got that resolved over there. So, yeah, contact the law enforcement. Thank you.
Excuse me, are you on public water or
Yeah.
private?
I'm on public water.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long have you, what district is that?
Five, I think.
I'm 5.
6. She's on 6.
I'm 6. We're 6? No, 4? I don't know.
You're later than 4.
Yeah.
She's 6.
6?
7.
I was just gonna say, if it wasn't that, it might be 7.
Okay.
2015 maybe?
Okay. We'll check into that one. Okay, gentlemen, that's it. Do I hear a motion for an adjournment? She said no. Yeah, you never sent down for all the different board members to sign. You said no to me. She'll pass it down. Do I hear a motion? Second?
Lynn made it, I'll second it.
Lynn made it, Larry seconded it. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, officially over.